Okay, so something's come to my attention, and I just wanted to address a couple things about personal identity. So, back in the day, I used to be really inspired by people around me that had a sense of, self and that carried themselves very well. And I found that I used to try to adopt certain different things from different people, and you know maybe not so much just like steal it, but make it my own, in the sense that, oh, this person has a way of organizing something, it's very efficient, and I'm like, I like efficiency, so I would like to try to do that as well, because I think that's a really good idea. So I'm not going out of my way to mock a person or anything like that, but I like it. This was my old self before I started exploring. Um, this was several years back, but before I started exploring things that I liked, things that I wanted, because when I was younger, there were certain things that I did that I really enjoyed, or certain things that I said that I was inspired and I wanted to share, and I was shut down for. So I lost a sense of self in the whole idea that every time I tried to be creative or express myself in a certain way, and it was shut down or mocked or ridiculed, like made fun of, not so much encouraged to be my individual self. I learned that being myself was not okay back then, and obviously that's not true. And yeah, so I got rid of a lot of negative ways of thinking, take out the trash, so to speak. And I see now, being my genuine self, allowing myself to do that, how many people around me are trying to adopt and pick up things that I do. And in the past, when I used to be triggered about certain things, there's two different ways of looking at it, because people will do things because they're inspired by you, and then there's other people that will do things out of like a mocking sort of behavior because they're jealous of you. So instead of trying to improve themselves, they're trying to tear you down and make you feel like shit for it. And then there's other people that are actually copying you as a sincere form of flattery. So I do believe there's a difference. And I do believe that most people nowadays find it difficult to tell the difference, because of the fact that we all carry, at some point or another, certain insecurities that we have to look at and address. So that's one thing that I did want to point out. I wanted to discuss it because I'm running into certain individuals that don't have a sense of self, and they are trying to adopt everything that I do. So it's almost like they're trying to take on my personality, my traits, everything that I'm doing, instead of exploring themselves, and finding what they like, what they dislike. So I can resonate with them in the sense that, I understand that at some point must have been taken away from them. They must truly believe that they don't deserve to explore themselves and to accept themselves for who they are, and to like the things they like, and to, dislike the things they don't like, or, maybe steer away from that. But I noticed that there are certain people in my life now, because I found that comfort in myself, because I've allowed myself to express myself in a certain way and do what it is that I really, really love. I'm finding people around me that don't have that sense of self. It's not that they don't have it, but they're not allowing themselves to. It's almost like it would be they're so intrigued by my own things that I'm doing and how well it's going for me, that they're not exploring that for themselves, or they're not taking, their own responsibility to do the work or figure out what it is they like, but they may not even realize they're doing it. I am aware of that. They may not even realize that it can become toxic to themselves, not just to the individual that they're trying to associate with or maybe be friends with or something, but it can be toxic to the point where it becomes overwhelming, it becomes overbearing, almost. And I wouldn't even say annoying, because it is a form of flattery. I mean, it's nice that other individuals want to be doing similar things, and I have no problem with it. Previously, I used to be triggered by it because I would take it automatically, no matter which way it is, whether they're inspired or jealous. I would take it automatically as an insult when people used to copy me or do the same things that I used to do. I would just automatically think that they're mocking me, because that's a background that I came from, that I would be mocked and ridiculed for my genuine behaviors and my expression of self. And so when other people used to do it, used to trigger me. Now I see it and I recognize the difference between the two. I can tell when somebody's jealous and they're just trying to make me feel guilty for being my genuine self. And I can tell when somebody's actually inspired and they're trying to better and improve themselves because they find what I do to be good, helpful, or it can improve them in some way and better their life, which is great. I'm able to discern the difference between the two, and I have no problem with it, but I don't think a lot of people are aware that there is a difference, unless those individuals themselves have taken a look at that, and they realize that there's a line there. And so now approaching somebody and explaining this to somebody that is going too far, like wanting them to explore what they like. I mean, you can, I guess, adapt everything another person does, but to the point where it becomes toxic, I mean that in the sense that you have removed the right for yourself to develop any sort of expressions of your own, and you are trying to adapt a person's way of life, way of being, who they are, and you're completely disregarding your own self, what you like, and the things you really enjoy. So to take on a whole other person's identity is maybe not the best form of self-expression, but at the same time, I've come from that mind space, and I do realize that at a certain point, you have to kind of snap yourself out of it, which can be difficult, because when it's emotionally, verbally, or mentally beaten out of you, it becomes hard to differentiate, whether you're just trying to be, it's hard to explain, whether you're just trying to, better your life in some way, or whether you're just trying to take on another person's entire identity and not developing your own. So there is a line there, and having to balance it out is definitely very important. I do recommend people be aware of the difference. I do recommend they take a look at themselves. If they find that they're copying every single thing another individual's doing, just maybe stop for a moment. If you are doing that, you're more than welcome to adopt certain things that you find helpful to you. But if you're trying to take on an entire personality, an entire identity as your own, instead of developing your own, then maybe there is some healing to do there of your own that has been stripped from you, and you can get that back. You can take that back. You can realize that, hey, I like this, I don't like this. I want to get into this because I'm really interested. I want to develop this skill, or I want to learn this sort of thing. Like I personally wanted to learn macrame. Those hanging plant things, those nets and stuff like that. I wanted to learn how to do that, and I wanted to brush up on my calligraphy. I bought a bunch of stuff for calligraphy, and I used to dabble in it a while back, and I applied it to my artwork and stuff like that. And I even used to do tattoos, it was a hobby of mine I picked up. It wasn't a career, but it was a hobby. And turns out I was like semi-decent at it, being self-taught. And when I was younger, in my teenage, early 20s, I used to, get payments for whatever, just doing tattoos. It was something I looked into, didn't become a career, but I really enjoy it. Now I want to, go back over that. And so I try to find things that I enjoy doing and explore them. And you can do that too for yourself. And there are people I see online, I really like certain things that they do, and I'll try it myself. And if I don't like it 100%, maybe I'll tweak it here or there. And if I turns out it's not good for me, a method that I like to use, then I'll look at something else. I will look into what it is to develop my own identity, my own way of life, instead of just trying to take on that of somebody else's, because you can't. You are an individual blueprint. You cannot take on the identity altogether of somebody else, no matter how much you try. And I know there are legal documentations and stuff that people can try to forge and everything, but even still, they will get caught. And truth always comes out, regardless. Doesn't matter how many years it takes. Doesn't matter how many weeks or days. That stuff comes out, but highly recommend that you do your own introspection and your own investigation of what you like and what you don't like. And do things for yourself. You don't have to steal from others necessarily.